Tell me your previous job and your first and last name, please.
Well, sure, it's Gregory Bovino. Previous job was Chief Patrol Agent, U.S. Border Patrol.
And how long were you working there at ICE?
Approximately 30 years.
All right, thank you so much for talking with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so that was my interview with Greg Bovino. We are here at CPAC in Dallas, Texas, the biggest conservative gathering of the year. It's hell. And we're going to walk around hell today and see what people have to say about Donald Trump and everything else going on right now. How would you rate Donald Trump's job thus far?
I give him a 9.
9 out of?
10.
10?
Yeah.
So it's not a perfect 10. What don't you like that he's done?
I don't like the war part.
What does that hat mean?
Trump was right about everything. Everything that he predicts seems to come true. Everything he talks about that he's going to do seems to come true.
Did he end the war in Ukraine on the first day?
No. But
Are gas prices lower than they were when he was inaugurated?
They were tons lower just a little bit ago, yes.
Well, but now it's $3.98 a gallon.
For a little bit.
For a little bit.
We can't be panicans.
Okay.
It's just going to be for a little bit.
Do you think Trump was right about everything?
Yep.
Okay. How would you rate the job Donald Trump has done thus far in his second term?
Outstanding. It's interesting with Donald Trump because you sit there, and this has been true throughout, even in his first term, you question what he's doing, but in the end you go, geez, that made perfect sense.
And would you like to see Donald Trump run for president in 2028?
Well, I'm not good on the whole third term, but I can see him running. Or hope.
It is against the Constitution.
I just think he's probably going. I think he's just doing that to get a rise out of people.
Dean Kane. Dean, great to have you here. Thank you, sir. Thank you, John. I will say this, I play that superhero. I played the superhero on television, but you play him in real life because of what you do. And President Trump said this, I think, yesterday. The news isn't giving news. They're not reporting facts. They're propagandizing. So I'm a huge fan of yours. Thank you for being a superhero in real life.
He's just doing it to get a rise out of people. And why would he do that?
Because the way they react, it just shows how childish some people act in our media. Everything's great outrage and everything's the end of the world. Why?
It's childish when the president of the United States says he's going to run for a third term, which is unconstitutional, and then people react worried about that the president's going to break the Constitution. That's the people reacting to it?
Just the way that they're reacting about it. When they know he's pulling their leg, he ain't going to run in 28. He's just, he's doing the Trump thing, which always seems to work.
But if he does run, would you vote for him?
If he does run, I'd vote for him.
Okay.
But
it is against the Constitution.
It is against the Constitution, but I really don't think he's going to run. Okay. I really think he's just...
But if he ran and it was against the Constitution, you would still vote for him?
At this point, yeah.
Why do you think Donald Trump was fighting the release of the Epstein files?
One of the things that you'll find is that he's fought the release of a number of things that turned out to be nothing, and I think it's more out of a matter of principle than it is anything else. It's like
what's another example of that?
Tax records. I mean,
his tax returns?
His tax returns and everything else. I mean,
why would wait a second? That doesn't make sense. Those are his tax returns that he was fighting. It wasn't like he was keeping anyone else safe but himself, right?
Well, actually, it's a matter of principle. Once you release his, what do you do with everybody else's?
But every major political party's candidate, for a very long time, decades, has released their tax returns.
It's a matter of personal choice, and so he said no.
One of the top Google searches of 2026 is Donald Trump and another famous person. Do you have any guess who that is?
Not a clue.
No idea? Very famous person, really in the news. Want to take a guess?
Got me.
No? So this is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. That's one of the most Googled things.
When they started demonizing law enforcement, I joined the police. Defund the police, I joined the police. Defund ICE, I joined ICE.
What are your thoughts on ICE?
Oh, I love ICE. They're doing a job that nobody else wants to do. I think...
They killed 2 citizens in Minnesota. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, the one hit him with a car.
You all excited to be here at CPAC?
Absolutely.
How would you rate Donald Trump's job thus far?
100%.
100%?
Absolutely.
What's his greatest accomplishment thus far?
Inspiring the next generation.
Would you like to see ICE at polling places?
Well, yeah. If illegals ain't voting, why are you worried about it?
Well, some citizens might be worried just because of the people that got shot in Minnesota that maybe they would, shoot them.
But they're taking a small situation out of a bigger situation.
As you sit there and you go, oh, why is he doing that? You kind of go, well, let me think this out. You have to do some critical thinking in order to realize what's happening. And that's actually one of the biggest problems. We live in a world of sound bites.
But would critical thinking be thinking about it, seeing he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, thinking there might be some embarrassing things about Donald Trump in there, and then Donald Trump decides, I don't want to release those? Wouldn't that just be like the critical thinking?
I guess it could be.
Donald Trump in 2020 wished Ghislaine Maxwell well at a press conference. Why do you think he was wishing a sex criminal well?
That I'm not really for sure on. I think maybe he's just trying to be a decent human being, even though she's a piece of trash and deserves to be right where she's at.
But he's called Democrats enemies of the people. He said, I hate Democrats, but Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump said, I wish you well.
Well, if you look at what, the Russian lie, they knew from day one it was a lie.
I'm just saying he doesn't have a problem, people who he views as bad with saying that they're terrible, but he's wishing a convicted sex criminal well. Is that not odd?
That's kind of off, but,
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
I'm going to ask you to put on your critical thinking hat one more time. 2020 press conference. Donald Trump is asked about Ghislaine Maxwell. He says, I wish her well. I wish her well. And then he said again, but I wish her well. That's convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. Why do you think he was wishing convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell well?
Probably because he had nothing else to say at that particular point in time. What's he going to say, rotten hell? I mean,
he says Democrats are enemies of the people. He hates them. Ghislaine Maxwell, sex trafficker, he says, I wish you well.
And if you've ever noticed anything with Donald Trump, he generally speaks in general terms like Democrats are traitors. He doesn't sit there and say Schumer is a traitor.
Okay, yeah.
He doesn't get specific. He doesn't.
Well, he specifically wished convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell well.
About her, and so he gave a nice general answer.
If Trump pardoned Ghislaine Maxwell, would you still support him?
No.
Yeah. That's a red line for you.
Yeah, if he supports, they know she's guilty, hands down guilty. No, you can't let people like that. She don't deserve a jail cell. She deserves something more than that because of the women and stuff that she did. She deserves to be exactly where she's at.
If Donald Trump pardoned Ghislaine Maxwell, would you still support him?
I really don't think I'd care.
Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything. Donald, yes there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey Epstein. Nor will I, since I know what it is. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, this is to Jeffrey Epstein. And may every day be another wonderful secret. Donald J. Trump. And then there's the signature there.